Hi guys, welcome back to another video. I'll be showing you how to make your own kombucha and Scoby from scratch using store-bought kombucha as your starter. And to add in flavor, we will add a second ferment with juicy pineapples. Kombucha is a fermented tea beverage that is full of prebiotics and probiotics, which are well known for keeping your gut healthy. And I make content about health and wellness. So if you enjoy this kind of content, please subscribe. And to all my new and returning subscribers, you guys are my sugar, spice, and everything nice. So to make our kombucha, here are all the ingredients and measurements that I used. I'll also indicate everything in the description box, so do check it out. I used about a half cup of sugar. You can also use raw organic cane sugar. I also used 5 tea bags of black tea. You can also use green tea. The brand of tea that I used here is Kericho Gold. You can use less or more depending on the concentration that you like in your tea. So next I used 300 ml of Bush brand of store-bought kombucha as our starter. A plain one is the best one to use, but since I couldn't find any in the supermarket, I used a flavored one, which has ginger and strawberry. It will still work. I bought it from Carrefour here in Nairobi, Kenya. And lastly, I used about 2 liters of filtered water, which I added into my pot and heated it until it was hot to make our sweet tea, which is the base of our kombucha. Once the water is hot enough to dissolve the sugar, I go in to add my tea bags and my sugar. It doesn't really need to boil. Just make sure it's hot enough to dissolve the sugar and the tea bags. Then put off the fire and let the tea bags sit in the water for some minutes. I left mine for about 5 minutes since I didn't want my tea too concentrated. If you like your tea very concentrated, you can leave the tea bags for a longer period of time before removing them. Also, we will allow our sweet tea mixture to cool completely before we go in to add our kombucha from the shop, which will be our starter. Adding it in while the tea is hot will kill all the bacteria needed for fermentation. So when the tea is at room temperature, it's ready to add in our kombucha from the shop. An important point to note is that the kombucha I bought was stored in the fridge when I bought it. So I took it out and poured it into my sweet tea when the tea was warmish, like a baby's bath water. So that's when you add it in. You add in the kombucha that we bought from the shop. It will be room temperature. But the temperature shouldn't worry you. Just ensure your tea is completely cool before adding in your kombucha from the shop. You can also heat it overnight. You can also heat it and leave it overnight until morning. Then add your store-bought kombucha to ensure it's cool enough. So guys, I used a plastic container to ferment my kombucha in, but if you have a glass container, it'll be better. It'll be much better due to the fermentation process. Please note, don't use any aluminium or steel jar for this because it reacts. Glass or plastic container is the best one to use. Once you add in your store-bought kombucha as the starter, which will introduce the Scoby into your sweet tea, cover with a cheesecloth or a clean cloth, any kind of cloth or coffee filter, and secure it with a rubber band. This allows air to flow while keeping the dust and the insects out. Now, place your jar in a warm, dark place in your kitchen, away from direct sunlight, for about 7 to 10 days, 7 to 14 days. And the longer you let it ferment, the tangier your kombucha will become. So taste it after the first week, after the first 7 days, to find your preferred flavor. If you like it when it's 7 days old, if you prefer the flavor in that when it's 7 days old, you can take it out. But please note to taste using a straw or a plastic spoon. Also, avoid storing your kombucha in places with very strong odors and changes in temperatures. Make sure that the temperature where you store your kombucha is a place where the temperature is regulated. It's not too hot and it's not too cold. Mine took exactly 10 days to ferment to my preferred taste. It was not too sour nor too flat. By day 10, it was just the right tanginess for me. Also note that the temperatures vary. If you live in a warmer place, it might take less days to ferment. And if you live in a colder place, especially during winter times, it could take up to 3 to 4 weeks to ferment to your preferred taste. So note that, guys. So 10 days later, I took mine out of my storage area. And as you can see, it formed a layer just like that. This is referred to as the Scoby. So gently remove it and set it aside on a plate. Handle it with care since it's very delicate. And this is what we use to ferment another batch. If you need to make another batch, this is the Scoby that we're going to put in the batch of sweet tea. It'll make it easier so we don't have to buy kombucha from the shop again to make the whole process from the store again. So this is going to be our starter from now on. It's time for the second ferment, and I'll be infusing mine with fresh pineapple slices that I chopped into very tiny pieces to be able to fit it into my glass bottles. You can use any fruit or flavor of your choice. You can also you also don't need to chop them. You can blend or puree yours, whatever you prefer, whatever works for you. You can use strawberries, ginger, hibiscus, mint, any flavor of your choice. You can also mix them up if you like. This is where you experiment, but for me, I only used pineapples. You might also be wondering why you need to drink kombucha or its benefits to our body. So as mentioned earlier, kombucha contains probiotics and prebiotics that are found in many fermented foods, which is bacteria that is needed to keep your gut healthy. A healthy gut is important for your overall health, especially your immune system. Kombucha also contains antioxidants, which are compounds found in food that help protect your body from harmful radicals, reduces inflammation, and reduce your risk of getting cancer. It also boosts your metabolism, aids in constipation, boosts your cardiovascular health, and promotes healthy liver function, among so many other benefits. So when you're done adding your fruit, make sure you cover and seal your bottles completely, as this process will create carbonation or bubbles like a soda, guys. So your bottles need to be completely airtight. Ensure you leave some space at the top of your bottles also. Don't fill it all the way to the brim to prevent it from pouring over when you open it. I also made some more sweet tea for my next batch of kombucha, which I added into my container. And guys, please note, always leave some of the liquid in the container to store your Scoby in. Yeah, we are going to form a little Scoby hotel. It's called a Scoby hotel, where your Scoby is going to be resting. And not, they grow in size, by the way. The more you make, every new batch you make, the Scoby grows in size. So it becomes bigger and bigger and bigger. That's why it's called a Scoby hotel. That's where they sit. And to ferment another batch, it will make it easier for us to ferment the next batch that we ferment faster. So once you're done with this, store your bottles in a warm place for about 3 to 7 days for your kombucha to be ready. This is the second ferment. So mine took about 4 days to produce bubbles, which means it's ready to drink. So at this point, you can store your kombucha bottles in the fridge to slow down the fermentation process, then continue with the process of making new batches and flavoring them into your liking. So if you don't want to make more tea, you can leave the Scoby inside the tea liquid to preserve it. And you don't really need to store it in the fridge. Just keep it covered in a cool place away from dust and insects until you're ready to ferment another batch with it. And when serving, you can strain out the fruit if you like, or you leave them for added flavor and enjoy the fizzy drink and health benefits that come with drinking kombucha. So guys, if you liked this video, don't forget to give me a big thumbs up. Also share your own kombucha recipe in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe for more fun and healthy recipes. Feel free to alter it to your own preference. Thank you for watching. See you on my next one.